Hey guys, welcome to this Azure tutorial by Scalar. So in this particular tutorial, we'll be learning the basics of Azure and also we'll be covering how to start off with Azure. That is basically how you can create an account in Azure and how to get a free trial and how to create your first virtual machine on Azure. So that's what we'll be looking into. I'm Kodishwaran and I'll be taking you through this entire tutorial. And before we move on to this particular session, please make sure you subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss our upcoming videos, and also leave a like if you enjoy our content. And if you have any queries, please leave a comment in the comment section and we would be addressing all of your queries. So now before we actually get into the creation of the account and doing the demo where we create a server, let's look at a quick introduction to cloud computing and Azure. Before we start with the Azure tutorial, first let's understand what is cloud computing, because once we understand cloud computing, we can easily get what Azure is. So, cloud computing. Cloud computing is basically an on-demand delivery of services over the internet. So there can be different types of services. There can be SaaS, there can be PaaS, and there can be IaaS, that is infrastructure as a service. So software as a service. So software as a service could be any software. It could be Gmail, it could be a Slack, it could be any software which you get over the internet, which you can use, but you cannot know where the code or your application's data is being stored. For example, if you're using Gmail, your emails are getting stored in Google's data center, right? But you don't know where it is stored. You just get the access to the software, that is Gmail, in order to send mails. That's it. Next, coming to PaaS. So now PaaS is basically another type of service which is called platform as a service, where you will be given a platform. For example, in Azure, there is a platform called app service where you can create an app service and just upload your code. It will automatically create the servers and all the other provisions you need for your application to work. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to set up the server or install any software. You just have to create the app service, upload your code. It will take care of everything for you. That's basically PaaS. And finally, infrastructure as a service. And this is the most commonly and widely used service in cloud, because that's why people use cloud for. So virtual machines. There are other types of services which use virtual machines. There is Azure Kubernetes service. There is Azure Container Service. There are so many other infrastructural services which provide you infrastructural needs and satisfy them. That's basically the three types of services which cloud computing provides. So now Azure is basically will provide you PaaS and infrastructure as a service, that is IaaS. So these two types of services are provided by Azure. Software as a service is also provided in certain areas, but it's not mainly concentrated. Azure is essentially for PaaS and IaaS. Okay. So this is basically Azure. So now when you talk about Azure, Azure is basically a cloud provider which provides these services, right? The services which I mentioned, IaaS and PaaS. So these services are provided by Azure. That's it. So it is a cloud provider owned by Microsoft, which provides various types of cloud services. It's not anything new. It's pretty much the same thing as AWS and Google Cloud and other cloud providers which are available in the market. So this basically is here, and also there are a lot of advantages. It's flexible. You don't have to pay upfront for it. You just have to pay once you've used all the resources. You just have to pay for what you've used. It's also scalable. You can increase and decrease the number of resources as you go. It's global. You have data centers all across the globe. If you have an application in India and if you want to migrate it to US, you can do that. And then again, there are more things, there are benefits, there are features which Azure has. And if you want to check out those fundamentals, you can check out this particular video, which is already available in Scalar's YouTube channel, which will give you a better understanding of the basic fundamentals of Azure. And then start off continuing this video, because I'll be showing you how to create an Azure account and how to create a virtual machine and getting started with Azure. So now let's get forward with it. So guys, yeah, so this is the portal.azure.com. This is the homepage. You can see I actually just created a free trial subscription. I had this account, but I had a pay-as-you-go subscription. I just created this free trial subscription so that I could show you what a free trial subscription is actually. So before I actually start off with showing you around the Azure portal, first let me show you what is the free trial subscription in Azure, and then let me show you how to create an account in Azure. It's pretty simple. I'll show you that. And then, yeah, and then I'll take you through the portal. So first of all, I'm just going to search for free trial Azure. Sorry, it's Azure. So you'll get this option here. Create your Azure free account today. Okay, so over here, this page basically tells you what do you get from this free trial. So first of all, you get popular services free for 12 months, 40 plus other services free always. So also you get USD $200 as your credit, and you will be given 30 days. You can basically use it on any Azure service you want, and you can use that complete credit. So if you're from India, it will be around 14,500 rupees credit, and you can basically use that credit in order to basically experiment with certain resources which are, let's say, quite expensive resources. If you don't want to put in your actual money, you can create a free trial account before you actually create an Azure account, and then go around with it, play with it, try to figure out what you want to do and understand how much it costs and everything. Okay, so this is the free trial. This is what you get with the free trial. And yeah, so try free Azure App Service, Cognitive Services, Azure Machine Learning, Virtual Machines, Kubernetes Service, Synapse Analytics, Azure Functions, Logic Apps, Azure DevOps. So these are some of the free services which is provided, and also some of these services are not actually free. For example, Azure Machine Learning, when you create it at the first, right now during the free trial, everything is free because everything will come under this credit, right? So everything would be free. But after the 30 days, you would be seeing, if you're still using these, let's say Azure Kubernetes service, this a quite expensive service. If you're using that, you will be getting billed for it. But let's say you're using AKS for 1 hour, you will just have to pay for the 1 hour you're using that particular service. You don't have to pay for anything else. Okay, yeah. So these are some of the services you get for free. And if you want to understand about every single service you get for free, you can just click on this, see all free services, and over here you will be given the entire list of free services with how long you're going to get it for free, right? So always basically means you get it always free, and 12 months means you get it free for 12 months. So how to understand how it is always free? It's not meant that the complete service is free. Certain parts, certain features, and certain types within that particular service is free. For example, if you take automation, 500 minutes of job runtime. If your job runtime is within 500 minutes, you will not get billed. But if it exceeds those 500 minutes, you will get billed according to the minutes which you're using it for. Let's say you used it for 567 minutes, you will get billed for the 67 minutes, but the first 500 minutes are free because it comes under the free tier. Okay, same thing. Let's say I come to Azure database for a MySQL. So host a fully managed, scalable MySQL database in Azure. So 750 hours of flexible server, burstable B1 MS instance, 32 GB storage, and 32 GB backup storage. So in Azure database for MySQL, so 750 hours per month is free. That is, let's say you are using one Azure database. In that case, the total usage should come under 750 hours per month. And if you're using two Azure databases, sum of those two Azure databases put together should be lesser than 750 hours, the usage time. Only then it will be free. If you are exceeding the 750-hour limit, then you'll have to pay for the extra hours. Let's say you've used for 760 hours, then you'll have to pay for the extra 10 hours. And burstable B1 MS instance. So this is the only type of instance which you will be allowed to use under the free trial. Other types of instances which are more powerful and more expensive will not be given under this free trial. So just go through this complete free trial one, and you can understand what are the services which are free always in every single thing. For example, SQL Server 2019 Developer Edition, this is free always. Text Analytics 5,000 transactions are free for 12 months. Text to speech AI plus machine learning type of service, 5 million characters standard, 500,000 characters neural, 5 million characters custom. So these are the things which are free under text to speech, and it's always free. Virtual machine, same thing, 750 hours of free for 12 months. And virtual network, always free. It's virtual network is basically a logical component within which you will be creating other Azure resources. So you will not get billed for virtual network, you will get billed for the resources you are creating within the virtual network. Yeah, so this is basically it. And let's come down. Four more Azure services now free for 12 months. So the thing is, they keep introducing new Azure services to the free trial. And for now, you can see. Plus now you get Azure Logic Apps free always. So Azure Logic Apps has been made free always. Azure Key Vault, Azure Media Services, database for MySQL and PostgreSQL also have been brought under the 12 months free. So yeah, so this is basically it. And to start off with it, you can just click on start free and you can sign up over here. But the thing is, I've already logged in. You can see this, right? My account is already ready. That's why it is showing this. Let me do one thing. Let me open an incognito window. Azure free trial, start free. So first thing you'll have to do is you'll have to log in into, let's say if you already have a Microsoft account, you can directly log in into it. If you do not have a Microsoft account, use your existing email ID to create one. So it's a pretty simple one. So that's it. So do this. Once you create this, let me just log into this. So if my account, it won't show basically. So basically you'll get a code and then you can log in by looking at the, so I'm just checking my mail for the code. You'll get a single use code. Yeah, so 259 Okay, so if it's a new account, then it'll ask you to provide certain details. So first of all, it'll ask you to fill in your details. And second thing, it'll ask you to accept what type of an account you want. And the third is providing your credit card or debit card details. So once you provided your credit card details, so it'll basically accept it if the credit card is valid. And again, to verify if the credit card is valid, it will basically take 2 rupees from your bank account and then it'll be credited back in 3 to 5 days, 3 to 5 working days. So it's just to verify if it's a valid credit card. And yeah, so that can be done. So once that is done, you will be asked to choose what type of an account you want. So there would be three options provided. Free trial, there would be pay as you go, and there would be another business one. So you should either go for free trial or pay as you go. But again, for practice, always go for the free trial. So once you click on the free trial, your free trial account will be created, and that's it. You're good to go. So let me just close this. All right. So yes, the free trial will be created. So you can just go to cost and management over here. Let me just click on this. So over here, cost and management, right? You can just click on subscriptions and view what subscription is active. So I already had a pay as you go subscription which I disabled long back, but I just wanted to use the same Azure account again, so I created a free trial subscription under this same account, and it is active right now. So you can see that, right? It's active, but I've not used it yet, so that's why there are no charges, there are no covers, there are no invoices. And yeah, you can see your free credit is expires in 29 days. Upgrade to keep your account going. So at the 29th day, basically you will be given a mail. It will be asking you if you want to upgrade your account to keep using the account. If not, it will become inactive and disabled. If you want, you can upgrade to pay as you go. So you can click on it and select pay as you go and upgrade it. That's it. For now, it's free trial. You can see you can change the subscription name also. Yeah, so basically this is it. Then you are set up with Azure. You can start off by doing whatever you want. So everything will be available for you. You can create a virtual network, you can create an SQL database, you can create a virtual machine, you can start creating storage units using, first you'll have to create a storage account. Inside the storage account, you can create a blob storage and upload all content inside of it. So you can do so many things using Azure. So in this particular session, as it's a beginner session, and I first of all showed you how to start off with Azure, first thing I want to show you is how to create a virtual machine in Azure. So that's the most basic thing, and I'll be showing you step by step. So follow if you want to start off with Azure. This is the right video for you to start off with. So follow me with every single step. You can provide the names also, the same virtual machine names. It doesn't matter, as it's just for practice, right? So you can just do it, and yeah. So once it's done, you will understand how virtual machine is working. So let's get started with the virtual machine part right now. Okay, so now to start creating the virtual machine, first you'll have to click on the virtual machine, right? So once you do it, you can see there are various options. The only option you should be worried about right now is the create option. So just click on create virtual machine, not start with a preset configuration. So virtual machine, where you can basically create your own virtual machine by providing every single configuration you need instead of using an already preset configuration. So I don't want to do this. I don't want to use an already existing configuration. I just want to create one which I configure, I customize, right? So if you don't have time to customize, if you just want to create a general purpose one, or you can just click on dev test and you can just select what type of workload type you want, what type of CPU you want. You can also skip this step, it'll automatically choose one for you. But obviously don't do this, go with virtual machine, right? Okay, so the first option you get is free trial. So what subscription you have? If you have just one subscription active, it'll just automatically take the subscription and it'll ask you for resource group. So a resource group is basically a group which has various types of resources in it, right? So for now, if I create this virtual machine and I'm creating this virtual machine within this resource group, so this virtual machine will be within this resource group. And if I create another virtual machine and also put it inside this resource group, so this resource group will be like a folder which has two different virtual machines. And I can create a database and again put it inside this resource group. I can create an app service, again put it inside this resource group. So now this resource group will have all of these resources. Now, if I just don't want all of these resources, I can directly just delete the resource group. It will delete all the resources within the group. So that's basically a resource group. There is more to it, but for now, this is what you have to know. It's pretty simple. It's a group of resources, and it could be any resource you want. And once you delete the group, all the resources within the group will automatically get deleted. So click on create new, and I'm just going to provide as Azure tutorial and okay. So now next is virtual machine name. You can provide any name you want. I'm just going to provide again scalar one again. So you have to choose the location which shows free services eligible. Okay, wherever it shows free services eligible, choose that region because only those regions allow you to work under the free tier limit. So I'm just going to go with East US. You can also go with West US too. You can go with Southeast Asia as well. Yeah, so I'm just going to go with East US. Availability options, I'm not going to select any. Forget about it. Let's just concentrate on the most basic things today. Because again, availability options is basically selecting what kind of an availability zone you need. For example, let's say if you choose availability zone, what availability zones you need. So how many availability zones? So you need of one, two, or three. So what basically it shows is that you can have this particular server running in the availability zone 3 or 2 or 1. So why? Because let's say you have an application and you want to have multiple services. Let's say you want three services. Sorry, if you want three servers, and you can have one server running in each of these availability zones. Let's say there is a major power cut or major downtime in availability zone 1. So there would be other two servers still running so that your application will be always available. Okay, so that's basically availability zone. And virtual machine scale set, again, these are completely other concepts we'll see in the other Azure tutorials. Okay, security type, let's go with standard. All right, so image. So image is again one of the major parts of creating a virtual machine. Image is basically like, let's say when you're creating a virtual machine in your local system, or when you're trying to install an operating system in your laptop, you would have this file called a ISO file, right? So image is basically like an ISO file. It will have all the things necessary to install the operating system, all the files necessary to run all the processes to install the operating system. And yeah, and you can select what type of image you need. If you want your server to have Ubuntu Server 20.04 a latest stable version running inside of it, in that case you'll have to select it. When you put in all the details, configure it, and then create the server, your server will have Ubuntu operating system running inside of it. So that's basically it. And then also select only the images which shows you that it's under free service eligible, because all the other, so for example if you want to go with Windows Server 2019 data center, so in this case it's not free tier eligible and you will get billed for using this particular image. So always go with a free services eligible one. If you are not good with Ubuntu, go with Red Hat or go with Debian or go with CentOS. So choose whatever you want to use. I'm just going to go with Ubuntu. And a spot instance, again, it's a completely different, big, huge topic. We'll cover that in the Azure virtual machine tutorial. Okay. For now, let's just concentrate on this. Again, so here free service is eligible. So this is under the free trial, and for 750 hours, it comes under the free trial. So as I have a free trial, I don't have to worry about anything. I can just choose anything I want, because I'm not going to use it for a complete month. I'm just going to run it for a couple minutes or couple hours, and that won't cost me that much. It'll cost me what, like, let's say it's 546 per month. So that is 500. So basically per month, how many hours will be there? So 24 into 30. So it'll be that much, and that divided by this particular number, 24 into 30. So 546 divided by that. So it'll basically be a very small, insignificant amount which you can still pay even without the free trial, right? So I'm just going to go with the basic one, B1S, because this is the only type of image, sorry, only type of size which is provided under free trial. And then you can choose one more thing. You can go with an SSH public key, or you can go with a password. So if you go with a password, it should be 12 characters long with all of the conditions met here. If you're going with an SSH public key, you can just generate one over here, provide the key pair name, generate one, and use the public key for logging into your account. For now, I'm just going to go with password. So let's say I want to provide, I'm going to provide a big password. Um, so my username, I'm just going to provide my name. Okay, password, let's provide Scalar Academy 123. Scalar Academy at 123. Done. So I just provided the password as Scalar Academy at 123. So it should be 12 characters long. It should have a special character and it should have numbers. So make sure you tick all those boxes so that your password will be valid. And also I'm just going to make it K. Yeah. Okay. So now this is, or you can provide your username and password according to your name and your preferences. Also, don't tell the password to anybody else, because if they get the password and if they know the IP address of your server which you just created, they will be able to log in. Okay, so now public inbound ports. So now if you are using an SSH public key, then port number SSH should be enabled. But again, if you're just going with a password, it's not required. But again, it's better to have one port enabled. This is the SSH port one. So SSH basically means secure shell. Why secure shell? Because so SSH public key is obviously much more safer than using a password. Why? Because the server you are creating will have a public key, and you will be given a private key which you will download and store in your personal computer, which will be only with you. So even though the server's IP address and other details are given to the public, they will not be able to log into the server because they would need the private key to decrypt the public key in order to log in into the server. So the private key is only with you, so only you can decrypt it. So even if they have a random private key, they will not be able to log in. So that's impossible. So that's why it's much more a safer option. But password is much more a simpler option. For practice, you can just go with password and just see how a server is connecting, right? Okay, so this is done. So this is the first one. Next is disks. Yeah, so again, default size 30 GB, resize to 64 GB P6. So you can just go with this, or you can just keep the default only. So default also will come under free account, free tier eligible, and premium SSD, standard SSD. You can also go with this standard HDD, but don't go with the HDD. It's much slower. So this is for production and performance workloads. Standard SSD is for web servers, slightly used enterprise applications, and dev/test. So I'm just going to go with standard SSD, right? And then you can just use with the default encryption. You don't have to go with any other things. Again, this is just a starting practice, so you don't have to concentrate more on this. Just follow through what I'm choosing. Choose standard SSD. So the selected VM size supports premium disks. We recommend premium SSD for high or IOPS workloads. Virtual machines with premium disks qualify for 99.9% connectivity SLA. So they're just saying that it'll be much faster and it'll be highly available, this particular storage, if you choose premium SSD. But I'm just going to go with standard SSD. We don't need that much. Again, you can still go with this premium SSD because it's the free trial and you have credits. You won't be charged anything. So you can go with premium SSD as well. No problem. But again, if you're beyond your free trial, then go with standard SSD. It will be much cheaper than premium. Okay, so here you can attach another disk if you want, apart from the root disk, apart from the main disk which is connected, in which the operating system will be installed. So apart from that, you can attach another disk, for example, like a an external storage or an external hard drive. So like that, you can connect one more. Um, yeah, so this is not, you don't have to worry about this. Okay, done. So once this is provided, go to networking. So again, networking is important because without a network, you will not be able to create a resource. So without a network, a server cannot run. So here I don't have any networks created in this particular account. So it automatically is considering the name of the server which I'm just creating. So the resource group Azure Tutorial VNet. So if I click on create new, I can change the name of this. I can provide a different address range also. So again, VNet is a completely different concept. I'm not going to go into it because it's a really huge concept. So, and then there is a subnet. A subnet is basically a subnetwork within the virtual network which is created. A subnetwork basically means a range of IP addresses. So your server which you are creating will be assigned an IP address from the range created by this particular subnet. Okay, and then public IP, scalar 1 IP. So you can create a new one or it'll automatically create one for you. Let it be basic. Public inbound ports, let SSH be available right now. And I'm going to allow HTTP as well. No, I don't want to allow HTTP right now. I'll show you why, how HTTP works, how inbound ports work. So right now I'm just going to keep SSH only. And then I don't need load balancing right now. And click on next. Management, enable basic plan for me, yes. Okay, so you don't click on anything else in management section. Nothing else is required. And then extensions, again, this is also not required for now. These are advanced settings, which is not required for the first time. So then the name, this is basically a tag. Let's say you have hundreds of servers and you have one type of server. Let's say there are like 20 servers for one particular web application. So you can provide the name as web app 1, and when you search for web app 1, all right, it'll automatically list down all of those servers with the tag web app 1, so that you don't have to go through all the 100 servers and see if this particular server is the server which has that particular web application, right? So you can provide a tag if you want. And then finally, review and create. So it will basically validate everything, all the details you've provided. So it's taking some time to validate. So let's just wait. Okay, so validation has been passed. So I'm not completely agreed to the terms, so that's why they're asking me. So let me just provide my mobile phone and validate this. And yeah, so let me do that. Just give me 1 second. We'll be back. But just look at this cost. So it's basically 7.7493 rupees. That is like 74 paise per hour, and it's pretty cheap. Even basically, even without the free trial, this is very cheap, right? You can still afford it if you're just practicing it. Um, so you can just review everything over here, and then you can create it. But before creating it, for me, it's showing this. But for you, if you've already created and provided all the details, it won't show this. All right. So just give me 1 second, guys. Now I'll be validating my thing, and once that is done, we'll be back. So I provided my phone number and basically clicked on create. That's all what I did. And then in the notification section, you would be seeing this deployment in progress. And again, you'll be taken to the deployment in progress page. And you can wait and you can see all the resources getting created here, right? You can just refresh it if you want. See, first an NSG is created, a network security group. The network security group will basically have the what is that? The network security group will basically allow those port numbers and the protocols which we just gave, the SSH protocol. And you can see I've been given 14,500 credit, right? You can see it here, right? You'll also get this credit, and you can use this credit to create whatever service you want, practice whatever service you want. So you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, so you can see all the services are getting created. So only when the VNet is created, then the virtual machine will get created, because without the network, you cannot create a resource. So inside the network, the VM will be created. So now even the virtual machine is created, and that's why it showed that. So virtual machine agent status is not ready. That basically means the virtual machine is created, but it's still trying to boot. Okay, so it'll take some time to do that, and but I'll just explain you what are the things which we are provided with. So the main things you'll have to look into is the first one, public IP address. So I'm just opening this particular IP address, but there won't be anything available because the server is not created. Second one, there is no web server running inside of it. Okay. Okay. So then it's a Linux operating system. It's version 2. The size, the RAM size, yeah, all the details which are necessary is provided over here. Then you can just refresh and see if the agent status is ready. So you can see the status is running. Yeah. So now the agent status is also ready. So let me just refresh the complete page. Right. So yeah, so the public IP address, everything is available, guys. So the server is perfectly running. So the next thing is obviously to connect to the server, right? And so there is no web page in my server right now, but soon there will be. That's what I wanted to show you. And yeah, so now you can connect it via multiple ways. You can connect it via SSH, you can connect it via RDP and Bastion. So I'm just going to go with SSH. So yeah, I can just connect it through my terminal. So I'm just going to open terminal. Right now there is no private key. So there is no private key. That's why it asks for a password. Let me just make this bigger. So first, it just I provided this particular thing SSH Kodiak. This it didn't. It was not able to establish it because there was no private key or public key. But then it asked me to basically connect to it. I connected to it and it was added to my list of known hosts. So now it's asking for the password. So the next obvious thing you'll have to do is provide the password which you provided in the Azure website to create this particular server, right? So it was scalar academy at 123. Yeah, so the server has been connected, guys. So you can see, right? Let me do an ls. Let me do a pwd. So I am in slash home slash Kodi. So I'm within the virtual machine which got created by Azure. So before this, let me exit. Let me do a pwd. So you can see user slash Kodi. This is my personal computer's present working directory. Let me just provide this. Sorry. So now if I provide my password, yeah, so now I'm within the server which I created over Azure. So I think it's pretty understandable, right? It's pretty simple. Yeah, so we are within the server right now. So the first thing I want to do is I want to install, sorry, first I want to update my server. So always do this. So sudo apt-get update. So if it's an Ubuntu server, that's why I'm using apt-get. If it's a Linux, any other Linux distribution like CentOS or Debian, you have to use yum. So sudo yum update, it'll update your server. So always update your server. Once you updated your server, next you can install whatever software you want. So now I want to install Apache 2, the web server. So this will basically install the web server and will have a default web page running inside of it. Okay. So now the thing is, even though the default web page is running inside, so it won't be visible in the browser. I'll tell you why. First, let me take you to where exactly the web page is. Then I'll tell you why it won't. Yeah, so there is this index.html page, right? This is the HTML page which will be shown in the web browser. But so if I go here, if I refresh, even though there is a web server running in my server, even though there is a web page already available, it won't show because we did not enable the protocol and the port number for this particular, basically this particular functionality or this particular process. So we'll have to basically enable it in networking. Let me go to networking. Let me check the options available here. So you can see, right, port number 22 is available. Let's add one more inbound port rule. So the one which I wanted to add is the source can be any, even you, if you have this IP address, you can launch it. But when you are trying to launch it, I would have already deleted this instance. So if the web page is not showing, that basically means I deleted the instance in my account, deleted the virtual machine in my account. So if it is not showing, just create your own and launch your own web page in it and then try it. It'll surely work. Destination any, everything is fine. So destination port numbers, it's 80. So TCP port 80, done, and add. So I'm creating port 80 rule. So right now it's not showing, right? So if port 80 is available, it should show. Let me show. Oh, yeah. 310 port 80, 80 port number 80 is available right now. Port number 80 is allowed. So Apache 2 uses the listener which runs on port number 80. So now if I refresh this, it should show the web page which is basically within my server which I created, because port number 80 is allowed by the server right now. Also, there is outbound. We don't need to provide outbound. Um, so it's exposed to the internet. That is all fine. No issues. Yeah. So now we can see there is a web page running inside my server because I created it. So one more I just want to show you. So let's do this. One.html. So there is no web page, right? So let me create sudo nano one.html. Hello world. This is one.html file. Okay, so there is a one.html file within the directory which it is being listened to. Okay, so now if I refresh this, would the web page show or wouldn't it show? So it should show according to the things we've done, because it is looking for web pages within this particular directory, and also by default it will search for this, but when we are providing the actual file name, it should take us to that particular file name, right? So it should show this particular web page which I just created. If it doesn't show, there is some other problem, but it will show. Yeah, now you can see, right? Hello world, this is one.html file. So basically our virtual machine is working fine. We've created a server, we've created a web server within the server, and we've also created another file to show you it's working in real time, right? So you can also do this, guys. It's pretty simple, and you can also create your own server. And one more thing I just wanted to show you is how you can delete it. So I've created the server, but again, so you can stop the instance. Once you've stopped the instance, again you won't get billed for it. So you can stop the instance and tomorrow you can start it again. For those number of hours which where the instance was stopped, you won't get billed anything. But if you have anything stored in the storage, even though the instance is stopped, the storage is still available, right? So you will get billed for the storage. So make sure it is within the free tier limit so you won't get billed. But if not, you can just stop it if you don't want to create a similar server tomorrow if you actually need it. But if you don't need it, just click on delete. And yeah, so I don't need all of this. Delete with VM, you can just select this, and I have understood. Apply force delete. Yeah, so if you basically click this, it will automatically delete all the associated resources with it. So I'm just going to click on delete. Yeah, so it'll take some time, but eventually it'll delete the instance. Okay, so this is how you can delete it, guys. And yeah, so that's basically it for the beginner tutorial in Azure. I'll be taking you through various other tutorials. I'll be teaching you virtual machine even more in depth. I'll be showing you how to create a Windows server, and then I'll be showing you a storage tutorial in Azure. I'll be showing you a virtual network tutorial. So there are more videos coming up. So make sure you subscribe to us so that you get those videos in the future. So this is basically it. You can follow through this particular demo and create it. It's very, very simple and you can start with it. So yeah, thank you guys. So guys, that's it for today's session. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any queries, leave a comment down below and we would be addressing them all. And also leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Thank you.